Hey, how are you? So I titled this live, What do you tell somebody who is trying to figure out how to cope with a failed marriage? Anyway, so I get this phone call today, or rather like conversation going with somebody who is really grieving about this relationship that, hi Ilana. um, so basically this girl says to me, he's moving on. He found someone else. He's getting settled. I don't understand it. How was I wrong in my marriage, in our marriage? How come he left? How come he doesn't want to have a relationship with the family he built with me for those years that we were together? He doesn't love me and it still hurts. He lied, he cheated, he betrayed me, and I was willing to work it out. He didn't want me. It's a slap in my face. And she goes on to say, how could I deal with this? Like, what do I do? I'm so angry inside. And it's just like you feel the heaviness of her life is like literally huge weight on her shoulders. And so she reached out to me, I guess, because I mean, for just some perspective, you know? And it was, I mean, what do I know about these things? I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm like working through my own. But I honestly like had some thoughts to share with her because it sounds like it's been over a year that this marriage was in that direction. And she's saying it's like a slap in her face. Like perhaps she really didn't see the signs. And that's really the first step, right? When recognizing like you're realistic with like this is life right now. Like let's be real, like this is going on. And so as he's outgrown her, she's kind of like, wait a second, have you no shame? Like we have a family together, you're gonna start a family with someone else, and my children need to now know your other woman, whatever. So without going into details, I just wanted to share with you what she said and what my take on it is. And then maybe you are also going through something, or you know somebody who's going through something. But I really think it's important to share this because there are people that we know who are maybe in their 80s and they're saying the same story that they said in their 20s and 30s. That means that they're holding on to the same chapter for years and years and years of their life. They haven't turned the page. And that's really why I want to talk about this today. If you're going through something serious like this, I want you to ask yourself, where do I see myself in a year from now, in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now? Like, let's fast forward, because you will be at that place with the same story that you have today. Because a year ago, when the story was happening in that same plot, you were not realizing, you were in that space, that mental space of like, what do you mean we're getting a divorce? And now you're like in your 80s and you're like, what do you mean we got a divorce? How could that be? Right? So let's talk a little bit about that. If you want to change your perspective and not be a slave, because let's be honest, the conversations that she shared with me, it's like basically saying, I'm a slave to his behavior. I can't be happy because of what he did. I can't enjoy my life because he made choices that I'm not okay with. But let me say something about that. There will be people in our life that have actions outside of our control. We can't control everything. Look at that book, Man's Search for Meaning. Could he control that his family was killed in the Holocaust? No. Could he control that people became mass murderers? No. We can't control certain things, like pandemic right now. We have no control over this. This is crazy. What the heck is going on? Schools open, schools closed. Schools open, schools closed. I get like 3 messages a day about school being open and then closed. I mean, holler or wink if you know what I'm talking about, okay? We have no control over a lot of things. How we respond to these things, how we choose to deal and cope, is what allows us to move forward. She has outgrown him too. Like, if he's not with you, let him go. Because you're not going to be happy forcing him into your world. Believe me, you will not be happy. That's not what a woman wants. A woman doesn't want to force a man to love her. A woman wants to be cherished. And if you want that particular guy, then the guy who betrayed you, cheated on you, hurt you, treated you so badly that you felt like a doormat, and you're willing to come back to him, and he said things to you that were so bad, and you're willing to let that go so you can be beaten again emotionally. Why? Why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we go into the vicious cycle that has been so toxic for us? I'll tell you why. It's because we don't love ourselves enough to realize we deserve better. Can I get an amen for that? Because that's the truth. If you love yourself, you would want better for yourself. But this is just direction. This is the world for you, showing you a path that's saying, this is the lesson right now. For you to deserve better, for you to realize you deserve better, rather, you do deserve better. For you to realize you deserve better, you must be willing to love yourself every day. And you know what? I'm going to say this. There are 5 love languages. Figure out what you love. Figure out what your love language is. Okay? I have a friend whose love language is challah. No, in truth, there's 5. Okay. I didn't plan on talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it because you really need to work on loving yourself. This is really so paramount in this situation where she's stuck in his world as a victim. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Say, how is this happening for me? This situation, him in your life, is teaching you to love yourself and stand up for yourself, because the better guy, the guy who you really need in your life, is going to come when he's going to reflect the type of person you are. Okay? If you attracted a broken man, it's because you're broken. If you want a person who's solid, practice loving yourself more. Okay? And I get an amen for that because that's real. So, 5 love languages. Number 1, physical touch. And I think that means like taking care of yourself physically. I don't know. Don't delay things like getting your eyebrows threaded, which is painful. Or I'm joking. No, it is painful. Or getting a massage, or doing something special for yourself that requires some kind of like, you know how people feel nice when they get themselves. Find your language. If that's physical touch, use that. Number 2, acts of service. So doing something for yourself is really nice. Like, for example, like when you do something for someone else, you say, "Oh, I'll make you a cake," or I'll take the time to do something like that. Maybe you love scrapbooking. I love scrapbooking. For me to take time apart and put scrapbooking together, I have to really be devoted. But I'm so happy. Or I love to draw. When I'm done drawing a picture, I feel so good about myself because it makes me feel like I value my skill or my art. You're good at something, take the time to cultivate that craft, because that will bring your special energy out of you, and it makes you feel good about yourself. You don't need a man to make you feel good. You can do that for yourself. Do you understand? Like, the fact that you want him so bad to be there for you is all the more reason why he's repelled, because he doesn't want to be that for you. We have to be whole for ourselves before someone can compliment us. You know, I said, I'm going to pray for you. She says, I don't want to get married. And in my head, I was thinking, not for you to get married, for you to find your wholeness. I mean, like, you can't find your better half if you're broken. We got to make you whole. That song, there's this song that irritates the crap out of me. It's like this romantic song, and it's all about like, you don't know your worth, or something like, you don't know how pretty you are, something like that. And I'm like, I don't like this song. Why shouldn't she know how pretty she is? Why he has to love her because she's stupid and blind by her own beauty? I'm like, dude, I'm pretty. Yeah, recognize that. To my husband, not to anyone else. I'm just saying. No, but like, seriously, let's take a minute to recognize that. Like, whatever. Okay, I'm segueing off track. Okay, back to reality, back to focus. Okay, physical touch, acts of service. Number 3, who knows what the 3rd love language is? I forgot, darn it. Spending time together. Time. can you please take a minute to yourself? And I said this to her. She says, I need somebody to talk to me. I said, you know what you need? You need to talk to God. Like literally have a conversation with nobody around and just literally belt it out, because no one will understand you as much as He will. And if you don't believe in God, just talk out loud. Talk that, like have a conversation out loud with yourself, because you're also a person who's working through a whole problem. So yeah, take time for yourself, meditate, really do something like a bubble bath. That's also an act of service or something, spending time together. Gifts. How come we are so bad at giving ourselves gifts? Me, I bought myself a pot this week. Should I show you? Should I go into the kitchen and show you the pot that I got? I'm so excited about this pot. It was $49, and I don't spend that kind of money on one pot. I will spend that on get my bargain worth of pots. But I asked my friend Rona, who's an excellent chef, I said, where can I get a good pot? She's like, get this pot. Hold on. And I bought this giant pot for myself. You see this? Do you see how big this is? It makes me so happy because I don't have to stuff food in there. There's space. The reason why I'm saying this is because I made time to invest in my own needs. And I know I need nicer pots. Do you ever get annoyed at the dirty pots that won't get clean? It's time for a new pot. It's time for you to throw out that pot, get yourself another one, invest, buy something for yourself. It doesn't have to be a Louis Vuitton bag for you to feel good. It could be something like, I don't know, maybe Louis Vuitton is what speaks to you, but it could be something small and nice. It doesn't have to be something grand. Pay attention to what your soul is saying to you. Don't ignore yourself. So much time we spend ignoring ourselves, and then we're hostile against the world because the world is just giving us feedback. It's telling us you're not doing enough for yourself. And that's not a bad thing to get that kind of feedback. It's just feedback. It's just telling you it's time to pay attention. Yocheved's writing, your husband is a lucky man that he got. Okay, I have to say this. This I'm gonna share the secret with you. My dryer is still broken. It's really crazy. With COVID pandemic, it's really hard for me to get a dryer. So yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah. Yesterday I was calling my friend Miriam, who's also my coach, and she tells me, I was Zooming, she's teaching me how to be a better person or whatever, coach, and she's like, are you doing laundry? I was like, yeah. And she's like, piles and piles of laundry in my basement because I have no dryer. I have 7 people living in my house. And she's like, are you serious right now? How are you going to dry all these clothes? I said, I have a line dryer. I'm going to hang it up in my damp basement. And it takes I said damp, okay? Not the other word. So I'm going to hang it in my damp basement, but it takes time. So she says to me, you got to take these clothes to the laundromat and dry them. Just pay somebody to do it for you. It's going to save you tons of time. I'm like, no. How many of us do this? I'm going to martyr myself. I'm going to do it. I just got to break myself. I got to make extra hours in the day to figure out this problem. She's like, I don't understand. Is it really that much money? And I was like, I don't know. It's going to take me so much time to go there and give it. She's like, can you just do it for me? And you know what I did? Not for her, for me. I said, I'm going to do it. And I was in the middle of putting laundry inside. My mom is smiling. Mom, you're watching? My mom likes this stuff. The only person who will really validate you besides your girlfriend is your mom, because she knows this stuff is hard. So I took it was 70 pounds of laundry. She weighed it. I just dumped it out of my back seat and I rolled it into the laundromat, and the Spanish lady was like, all of that? And I was like, yes. And she's like, okay. And she kept weighing, and she's like, okay, it's going to be $70. And I was like, that's how much it costs to make me happy, right? That's how much it's gonna cost. And so I did it. That's what I did. until we figure this situation out, that's what I'm going to do. That's called loving yourself. If you want a man to love you, you must find your own space of loving yourself. This whole nonsense that the media pushes, that you don't know who you are until someone finds you, like, that's nonsense. Know who you are, love yourself, and somebody will see that. And they will be attracted to you recognizing your own beauty. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a reason why women are the prettier sex. We just are. Nothing wrong with that. But we have to also own that. Not in like a sexual way, like in a beautiful, honest, sincere, kind way. That's what I think. Okay, a lot of what I'm saying is a little off color, but to me, it rings true. Okay, I'm really feeling intense today because it's just like I got a pot. Just like take a moment to appreciate the large pot. See? It's so big. I didn't even understand how big it was until I got it. And I was like, wow, it's gonna fit so much food. It just made me happy. Did it make anyone else in my house happy? No. Did it matter? No. But why do we always hold back? Why do we always hold back? Please, I want you right now to do two things. Number one, make a list of what makes you happy. And when I asked her to do this, she told me, I want my children to be happy. I want a husband, a father in the children's life. Take that away for a second. What can make you happy independent of other people's presence? It's not about depending on other people. And you, if you're watching, the person who reached out to me, you got to read the Empowered Wife book, at least the first few chapters. It's going to help you. And it's not about being a wife. It's just about learning to love yourself. I want you to make a list of what makes you happy. Honor that list. Every day, do something from that list for yourself. Okay, look, I took care of my nails. I don't do these things, but I started to. My husband was concerned. He's like, you're really starting to take care of yourself. What's happening? Are you pregnant? I'm like, no. You're probably like hormonal? What's happening? I was like, I'm just paying attention to the things that matter to me. Baruch Hashem, thank you, God. And it's confusing sometimes for men. You're always trying to figure a woman out. If you're watching and you're a man, first of all, you're in the wrong channel. Second of all, you will never figure a woman out. Just letting you know. Just FYI. We can't even figure ourselves out. Look, we're trying. But the second thing I want you to do, and this is powerful. This is something that has helped me, and I'm going to share it with you. Whenever you're going through a really hard time, go to your future in your mind and ask your future self to talk to you. Like, this is what I do. I said, I suck. I suck at driving so bad. I talk to myself in the future and be like, how can I get better? Will this ever be okay? And my future self says to me, Esther, you do suck at driving. Can't argue with you. In the year 2020, you suck so bad at driving, but I'm proud of you. Because you never stopped driving, it's the year 2030, and I'm driving a truck. Like, seriously, you're gonna be okay. It's not always gonna be so hard for you. Your future self, your empowered future self, she knows you. And fascinating, she's in your head. In the future, she can give you advice. Is that weird? Maybe. But it works. Brendan Burchard says this, and I agree with him. If you want to see your best self, call onto your best self from your future. They can give you perspective because they're like, dude, it doesn't really matter in life. It doesn't. As long as you take care of yourself and the things that really matter, it will be okay. And if it's not okay, as my best friend says, one of my good friends, then it's not the end. But in the end, it will be okay. So that's my message to you. I'm all talked out, which is a good thing because my husband will come home soon, and it's always nice when a wife is tired of talking. For any man, they just want to be left alone. And I heard this from both Orthodox, conservative, and non-Jewish people. It's a universal thing. So have a beautiful night. Thank you for listening. Bye.